Hello and welcome to another Raggy's Beers, Wines and Spirits review. Today we're going to be reviewing Shepherd Neame's and Faversham Brewery, which is part of Shepherd Neame anyway. And their India Pale Ale, 6.1%. I would class this as one of the classic IPAs that are out there. So it says here, Shepherd Neame's IPA echoes its ancestors with a clear gold colour, an emphatic hoppiness. A fruity palate rolls into a bitter finish. We shall say. So I've just whizzed around the front and back gardens, done the mowing, edged off, mowed the lawns and rolled the lawns. Always looks good to see stripes on lawns. And there we go. Gold to amber pour, good lacing around the edge, white head. Bit of a fruity on the nose. Oh, a nice bit of fruit in the taste. For me, one of their classics, you know. You only seem to get it at Asda of all places. You don't really see it anywhere else. But yeah, for me, proper pub beer. Not a craft beer, just a decent, more traditional based IPA. With today's craft beers, sometimes when they call it an IPA, you do wonder sometimes when they're named certain things, and like everything though, you know, it's all down to interpretation, isn't it? I mean, the difference between stouts and porters, I mean, at the end of the day, does it smell good? Does it taste good? Does it get you drunk? Or at least tipsy? They're the things. They're the things that really matter. Not the oakiness and all the other rubbish that some people come out with. As somebody who obviously has a drink, I want something that looks good. Good aroma, good taste, and also at a good price as well. If I'm being honest, you know, it kills me to pay £4 or £5 a can, a bottle, when you can get 4 for £6 from your supermarket. It does, you know, and yeah, it's this fella is on a 4 for £6 deal at Asda. And obviously we know the difference between supermarket prices and brewery prices, but when you're buying quite a lot, you know, obviously to review, you want them as cheap as you can get to keep the costs down, because obviously they ain't free. Although these days I struggle to get a lot of new varieties. I really do need to get to Waitrose soon, or do a Waitrose order and order say 70 or 80 quid's worth, and drop a really good order in, and try and get beers that I've never will have again, you know, because a lot of their beers you don't see anywhere else. Same with Ocado. They have a lot of beers there that you just don't see anywhere else. Let's see if you can get a bloody order with them. So, the mystery of the lights. God knows what happened. Wife sat in the front room and all of a sudden there was a bit of fizzing from the plug. She's like, what the hell? And then I've gone up and it turned itself off, then turned itself back on again. God knows what that was about. Keep my eye on that. I have to check the odour. Or put a breaker on or something just to make sure there's no issues. We don't want no fires in the house from electrics. Certainly don't want any in the beer room. I'd hate to wake up and the beer room's on fire and all my beers. I'd cry. When you've got 300 beers at the side of you that cost anything up to £5 or £6 a bottle, from that £1.50 to £6, there's a lot there. So yeah, nice fruity taste to it. Definitely getting the bitter back end. And the strength is good as well. That 6.1 really shines through. It's funny because I reviewed an 8.5% beer last night, and it took ages for the strength to come through. Whereas this, already, not even halfway down, and the strength is there, really feeling it. Although I've just reviewed a bloody can of wine at 11.5%, so that might be the reason. Done me obligatory hour or two in the garden, and that's the thing about gardening. There's always something to do. And I watch little to no TV these days, partly because it's so crap. I don't know why we pay for half the stuff we pay for, really. Netflix, waste of time. Disney Plus, we hardly ever watch it, you know, even though we're paying for it. And sometimes you look at the stuff that you pay for, and you know, to economise, getting rid of a lot of it, because a lot of it you can get off the internet anyway if you're good at what you're doing and you know where to go. And the sun must be out because all of a sudden the wind stopped. It's amazing how when it's cloudy the wind's really strong. Sun comes out, stopped. Beautiful. So, an interesting few days ahead. Interesting to see what lies on the horizon, shall we say. Where the future goes. Don't know if I've already mentioned this, but I went for an interview last week, and with somebody, it was so refreshing. As a owner of a company, his honesty was exceptionally fucking brilliant, and we did a little bit of a plant ident, and this is, you know, it's funny because, you know, when you see plants you're like, fucking hell. I'm in his garden, he's got shitloads of different plants in, and he says, look around, can you name any of the plants? And I'm like, you know, I know these plants. There was a Garrya elliptica, tassel bush. There was a Lanissa nitida, and lobelia, geraniums, mint, which is mentha in Latin, and loads, you know, and you're there, and all of a sudden, things, when at first it's like, and then all of a sudden you start rolling them off, and it's funny that, you know, there's times when it all comes back to you. You know, when you've been a gardener for as long as I have, like, I mean, I started gardening, proper gardening, at the age of 10, when I moved to North Sherwood Street, just down from the Arboretum. Started growing vegetables on the back garden, spinach, cabbage, broccoli, radishes, flipping out everything. We had a good, for a little garden, got a really good amount of stuff out of it. But we had neighbours that were gardeners as well. An old lady one side, Mrs. Mounter, lovely old lady. Sadly, she spilt hot water down and went downhill after that. But she was a lovely person. Just a little back garden, no front gardens, a little back garden. And it's surprising what you can do with a little back garden. And then we had the other side, we had a lady called Mrs. Richards. A bit of a scruffy looking lady, to be honest. And Peter, who was our lodger. And obviously, they're obviously all dead by now. This is 30 years ago. They were already one was in their 80s, one was in the 70s, so they'd obviously be dead by now. But lovely people. And keen gardeners on the right hand side. And it's where I, you know, got my gardening thing from. And then obviously the Arboretum was 5 doors up the road. We were 201, the Arboretum was 207, North Sherwood Street. Go in there, look at the flowers, and 20 years of my life at the Arboretum, and not always the greatest of years, to be honest. You know, I worked with some fantastic gardeners, and I've worked with some absolute shite gardeners. But hey, you know, rough with smooth. I've worked with some great personalities, and some personalities that you'd line up against the wall and shoot, you know. But that's it with life. That's, you know, you have to take the rough with the smooth, I suppose, with life. Me, I'm looking for the smooth all the way through. I don't want any of the rough. I'm looking for the smooth. I'm looking for, you know, a nice life, a nice existence. Especially as you get older, you don't want it. You don't want people who are got their own issues and trying to force their will upon you. You know, you just want to do what the job that you're paid to do, that you're told to do, and carry on. And I mean, in some ways I miss retail. Retail was fantastic. Working on the booze department, I loved working on booze. It was great seeing all the new beers, wines and whatnot that come out, especially when the damaged packs, what we call tat, and getting the bargains off there. And got some great friends in retail, and some who probably aren't here at the moment because, you know, they're probably old and died now, but a lot of good people. I mean, in retail, people up to in their 80s are still working. Why? Because they're keeping themselves going. And there's a woman today where I work. She's trundling up this bloody hill that absolutely cripples her. But she says, but I keep going, keep forcing myself to move. Stops me sitting in a wheel, sitting in a chair, and basically losing the will to live. And fair play to her. You know, we work all our lives. You work and you think, fucking hell, I can't wait to retire. But you get to that age of retiring, and it's like, sitting down's no good for anybody. You need to be out, moving, going on walks. Obviously not, you know, not put yourself in jeopardy, but keeping active, keeping physical. Sound like a mum, doesn't it? I don't mean to, but you see it a lot with people where they clam up. They've done all their years at work. They've had enough of it. And I fair play to that. You know, you do have enough working for people. They get home, sit in a chair, do nothing all day, and then they start to swell up and not getting out there, they're not walking, they're not being active. And obviously in the end, you know, you get to the stage where you're just housebound, and you know, it's not good. Me, I can see me, 49 now, I'm still a kid, certainly in the head, and you know, I love theme parks as much now as I did 20 years ago, in fact more so. Absolutely love theme parks, scared shitless of sunrise obviously, but I don't think I'll ever lose that, you know, going to the likes of Alton Towers, Disney World, you know, Magic Kingdom at Disney World. Absolutely love the place. Do you know, the first time I walked into the Magic Kingdom in Orlando, and you know, we'd not done much as a family. We'd not been on that many holidays, and then my wife says, look, we need to start going on holidays. We're not doing enough. And fair play, holidays are expensive. And I've been lucky over the years because I've had internet money, working from money from the internet, which has helped us get, you know, because I'm obviously on a low wage, and to get to Orlando, to walk around, And you walk into the Magic Kingdom, you see the castle, and you're there, and you're like, is this real? You know, it's so amazing. And people who are, fair play to anybody who goes adventuring the world, as long as you're safe. You're so much about people who you know, get murdered. You know, there's something about adventuring, and then there's something about being street smart at the same time. You know, like me, I come from St Anne's, which, you know, it's a tough area. So you're watching people all the time. You're reading things. You know, I can spot people. I can spot things in advance. And but anyway, in America, you know, you're reading it in the parks. You're quite safe in the parks. When you get into the suburbs, whew, we went into a McDonald's one day, and I'm there, and there's some youths around, and I'm thinking, shit, you know, we need to get the food and get the hell out, because it was well dodgy. Anyway, back to the beer. So lovely amber pour, nice fruity taste all the way down, nice bit of bitterness, and overall a very decent classic take on IPA. Oh, that was delicious. And for the price, you know, £1.65, 4 for £6, you can't fault it. And I know a lot of people take the piss out of supermarket beers, but hey ho, it's in the supermarkets. That's the stuff that's getting drank more than anything. And it's at a price which, you know, a lot of people can afford. If you're charging £5 or £6 a can, yeah, people will buy it, I know, but they'll buy a lot more if it was £4 a can or £3 a can. Yes, I understand the cost involved in all processors, but sometimes, you know, charging over the odds is not a good business thing. In my eyes, you know. From somebody who comes from a poor background. Because sometimes breweries price themselves out of the market. People would think, yeah, well, that's £6 a can, but I get 4 for £6. And a lot of these are really good beers, you know, the top class beers. In any case, so for me, yeah, fantastic beer, deserves to be on a bar. 6.1%, great strength, nice aroma, that fruity aroma, fruity taste, bitter back end. Overall, a very easy drinking beer. And I've got to say, bloody hell, it's hit me like a brick. Out of 5, 4.4 out of 5. Yes, jolly decent. And that's it from this beer review. Time for me to go in the house and chill out, watch a bit of TV and talk to the wife. Job's a good one. See you soon. And as always, stay safe. Thanks for subscribing. And yes, thanks for watching. Cheers.